Moscow, January 1990. The Soviet Union is still standing. The Cold War is not over. And on Pushkin Square, something impossible is happening. 30,000 people standing in a line, in the freezing cold for hours. Not for medicine, not for bread, not for fuel, for a hamburger. A McDonald's hamburger. The very first McDonald's ever built on Soviet soil just opened, and the entire city lost its mind. Now hold that image, because here is the question I need you to carry with you. Why 30,000 people on first day? These people had never tasted a Big Mac. They grew up being told American capitalism was the enemy. Why would they wait hours in sub-zero cold for fast food? You are probably thinking, it's just curiosity. People wanted to try something foreign, but that's not the answer. The real answer is something much darker, much deeper, and much more powerful than you think. And it has nothing to do with food. By the end of this video, the way you see McDonald's will never be the same, because McDonald's is not a food company, and it never was. Before we go any further, I just want to take your few seconds. You know, this type of content creation requires a lot of research and time to bring truth to you. So I want your love in form of subscribe, like and comment to make sure that my time is worth and paying that and you are loving this type of content. Make sure to subscribe and to help us to grow this community. Let's back to the video. Let's start at the beginning. San Bernardino, California, 1940. Two brothers, Richard and Maurice McDonald's, open a small drive-in restaurant. Nothing special, burger, fries and hot dogs, like a normal restaurant. But by 1948, Richard McDonald's has an idea. He shuts everything down, fires the staff, rebuilds the entire kitchen from scratch. He literally takes a piece of chalk and draws the new kitchen layout on a tennis court outside. Every single station mapped out, every movement calculated. He calls it the speedy service system. No waitresses, no car hops, no custom orders. One thing only, and that is speed. A burger in under 60 seconds. In 1948, that was science fiction, and it worked. Within a few years, brothers are doing $350,000 a year in sales from a single location. Other entrepreneurs start showing up at their door. Franchise us. Let us open McDonald's in our city. And the brothers' answer was no. They actually say no. Not because they could not. They had the system. They had the brand. They said no because they were content. Richard McDonald said it himself years later in an interview. We already had 3 homes and a garage full of Cadillacs. We didn't owe a dime to anyone. Think about that for a second. These two men had the blueprint for the biggest business on earth, and they choose quit. Now, you are probably thinking this is a story about opportunity wasted, about two men who were too comfortable and paid the price. Hold that thought, because the real story is not about the brothers gave up. It's about who showed up next and what he was willing to do to take it. In 1954, a 52-year-old man named Ray Kroc is barely surviving. He sells milkshake machines door to door. For 17 years before that, he sold paper cups. A high school dropout, 3 failed marriages, no empire, no legacy. Just a salesman running out of time. Then something strange happens. A small burger stand in San Bernardino orders 8 fizz machines. 8. Most restaurants bought 1. He thinks it's a mistake. He calls to confirm. They increase the order to 8. He drives across the country to see this place for himself. He stands in the parking lot and waits. The line never stops moving. The food comes out perfectly every time, like clockwork. Ray Kroc had spent his entire life selling things. He knew immediately this was the most important thing he had ever seen. He called the brothers the next morning and said, "I want to take this national." The brother hesitated. They had turned this down before, but Ray Kroc was not like the others. He was relentless, and eventually they agreed. Ray Kroc became the national franchise agent for McDonald's in 1954. He kept 1.4% of sales, the brothers kept 0.5%. And for a few years, everybody was happy. But Ray Kroc had a problem. He was building the biggest fast food empire in American history, and he was personally going broke. By 1956, Ray Kroc is struggling. Franchises are making money, McDonald's is growing, but Ray Kroc's shares of the margins is razor thin. He is deeper in debt than when he started, and that's when a financial advisor named Harry Zonneborn sits across from him and says something that changed everything. He said, "Ray, you are not in the food business. You are in the real estate business." Kroc, shocked and stared at him. What he is saying? Zonneborn explained it slowly. Don't just franchise the restaurants. Buy the land first. Then lease the land to the franchisees. Now you are not just getting a tiny slice of their sales, you own the ground they are standing on. If they fail, you keep the land. If they succeed, you collect the rent forever. Kroc called it the most important idea anyone had ever given him. He started a new company, Franchise Realty Corporation, and he started buying land quietly, aggressively, and everywhere. Today, McDonald's owns over $40 billion worth of real estate. $40 billion. More than many real estate companies on the earth. McDonald's owns roughly 56% of the land and about 80% of the buildings for its restaurants. They don't cook your burger, the franchise does. McDonald's just owns the ground underneath it. And here is where it gets colder. Because once Ray Kroc figured out the real game, he didn't need the brother anymore. By 1961, Ray Kroc has had enough of the brothers. Every time he tries to make a change, they push back. They want to protect the original system, the quality, the simplicity. Kroc wants to conquer the world, so he calls them. What is it going to take for you to go away? The brothers think about it. They come back with a number, $2.7 million. $1 million each after taxes and $700,000 to cover the bill. They said, and I'm not making this up, we already have everything we need. Kroc went ballistic. He thought it was too much, but he had no choice. He scrapped together the money, taking on huge debt to do it, and he bought McDonald's. The name, the system, the golden orgs, everything. But here was one more thing. A handshake deal. After the sale, Kroc verbally promised the brothers 0.5% of all future profits forever. No contract, just a handshake. You can guess what happened next. The brothers reportedly never received any money from their agreed upon share of future profits. Ray Kroc walked away. But he was not done. The brothers still had their original restaurant in San Bernardino, the one they built from scratch in 1948, the one they gave to their original employees. Ray Kroc could not use the McDonald's name on it anymore because they had forgotten to keep their naming rights. So they renamed it the Big McDonald. And Ray Kroc built a brand new McDonald's directly across the street. Same corner, same customers, newer restaurant. The Big McDonald eventually closed, and Richard McDonald died in 1998 in a modest 3-bedroom home, leaving behind an estate of $1.8 million. While Ray Kroc died in 1984 worth over $600 million. The name who invented McDonald's died in a nursing home in New Hampshire. The man who stole McDonald's died on his yacht. Had the brothers held on to their 0.5% royalty, by the end of the 1970s, it would have been paying them $15 million a year. By 2012, it would have been $305 million annually. Richard McDonald said he had no regrets. But his grandson told a reporter years later, "I remember him saying once, 'That guy really got me.'" Now, here is where you think you know where this story goes. You think, okay, Kroc was a ruthless, greedy, a villain, but that's still not the real story. Because the most dangerous thing Ray Kroc ever did was not stealing a business. It was what he did with it after stealing. Remember Moscow? 30,000 people, freezing cold, hours in line. You have been assuming they were curious about American food. They were not. Those people were not waiting for a burger. They were waiting for a proof. Proof that the word they have been told about, the free word, actually existed. McDonald was not selling them a Big McDonald. It was selling them an idea, a feeling, a taste, literally of a different life. And the US government understood this perfectly. This was not an accident. It was not just capitalism spreading naturally. The opening of McDonald's in Moscow was a calculated and a strategic move. A symbol planted inside the heart of Soviet Union. When people could hold their wrap box, taste the burger, something shifted. The idea that American capitalism was evil becomes very hard to sell. And when it tastes like French fries, the Soviet Union collapsed within 2 years of that opening. Historians don't say McDonald's caused it, but they do note it was a symbol that could not be answered. And here is the thing that should genuinely unsettle you. There is a theory argued by serious academics and foreign policy analysts called the Golden Ox theory of conflict prevention. The idea no two countries that both have McDonald's have ever gone to war with each other. But it has exceptions. It's debated. But the fact that serious people made the argument at all says everything about what McDonald's became. Not a restaurant chain, a geopolitical weapon wrapped in a paper bag. But we are not still done. Because there is one more layer, and this one is the most personal because it's inside your body right now. McDonald's spend hundreds of millions every year on food science, not to make food healthier, to make it impossible to forget. The specific combination of salt, fat, and sugar in McDonald's fries is not an accident. It was engineered by scientists to hit what food researchers call the bliss point, the exact balance of flavors that triggers maximum dopamine in your brain. The same chemical released when you win something, when you feel love, when you get good news. McDonald's figure out how to trigger that response with a potato. And they engineer the feeling to fade just fast enough. So you want it again within hours. This is why you can finish a McDonald's meal feeling full and still think about it the next day. It's not weakness, it's engineering. Now, here is where the sharp turn hits. In October 2024, a deadly E. coli outbreak spread across 14 US states. At least 104 people got sick. One person died, and it was all tracked back to McDonald's Quarter Pounder burgers. The contamination come from silvered onions, supplied by a third-party company called Taylor Farms. McDonald's pulled the Quarter Pounder from menus across the country. Their stock dropped, the word watched, and within weeks, people were back. Lines back to normal, sales recovering. A company that had just been linked to a deadly outbreak bounced back in weeks. That's called real comeback. Because the engineering runs that deep. The craving they build into the food is stronger than the rational feel. That is not a food company. That is something else entirely. Let me show you what this empire actually looks like today. McDonald's operate over 43,000 locations worldwide with about 95% franchised. In 2024, global system-wide sales surpassed $130 billion. McDonald's serves 69 people every single day. That's more than the entire population of France every day. McDonald's is the world's largest toy distributor. Not Hasbro, not Mattel, McDonald's through Happy Meals. Ronald McDonald's, the clone they created for marketing, is the second most recognized figure among children globally after Santa Claus. And here is the part that matters most. McDonald's Corporate, the actual corporation at the top, does not cook a single burger. Yes, you heard right. They own the land, they collect rent, they license the name, the franchise, do everything else. McDonald's maintains an operating margin in the mid to high 40% range, a number most business cannot even dream of. A 40% margin from a company that doesn't make food, the brothers invented it, Kroc stole it, and the US government used it. Scientists weaponized it, and 69 million people a day walk through those doors thinking they are just getting lunch. Here is what this actually means. Richard McDonald's invented one of the most powerful systems in human history, and he died in a 3-bedroom house with $1.8 million. On the other hand, Ray Kroc, a 52-year-old paper cup salesman who was broke and running out of time, died worth $1,600 million by stealing the system Richard McDonald's built, and left behind an empire now worth over $200 billion. The difference was not the idea. Richard had the idea. The difference was what each man was willing to do with it. Richard wanted enough. Ray Kroc wanted everything. Neither man is purely the hero of this story. Neither man is purely the villain. But here is the question I want to leave you with. We started in Moscow. 30,000 people in the cold. They were not waiting for a burger. They were waiting for something to believe in. McDonald's gave it to them. Not because they cared, but because belief, just like craving, can be engineered. The most powerful forces in the world never look like what they are. McDonald's doesn't look like a real state empire, doesn't look like a Cold War weapon, and also doesn't look like a neuroscience experiment. It looks like a lunch, and that is the most dangerous business lesson this company ever taught. Power hides in plain sight. Always behind something ordinary, always behind something you had never suspect. So next time you drive past those golden arcs, ask yourself, what are you actually looking at? I'm Hazy, and this has been the Monarch Report. If this changed how you see the world, you know what to do. Make sure to subscribe because every single video we make will do exactly that. See you in the next one.